America is coming back.
Let's make this a time of harvest.
This progress is not an accident.
Let's stand tall and prove the skeptics wrong.
And the key is for us all to work together.
Democrats and Republicans.
To make sure we keep it going.
My fellow Americans, no other country in the world does what we do. We stumble. We make mistakes, refighting old battles that drain our strength and may ultimately feed extremism. For decades, few things exposed hardworking families to economic hardship more than us, Democrats and Republicans. But in this rapidly changing economy, we are the face of the unemployment crisis. We are not doing right by the American people.
And so America is tired of politics as usual. We need something different, and that is why today, with a humble heart, I am proud to announce a show called Money, Power, and Politics.
We'll start with the shifting polls. Political strategist Adam Goodman will explain why you can't always trust him.
If you look at all the polls and try to find the mean average of them, I think more often than not, you're going to be wrong.
The candidates may also be wrong about Florida. Dr. Susan McManus will show us what's changing and who may swing the election.
Up for grabs. It's a very interesting shift.
Chris Wallace will also join us to break down the races.
Construction on roads.
Plus, Mike Sinan tracks your tax dollars through a project you may not believe. And David Martin, Art Miles, and their team of comics bring it home.
Do pollsters sway your vote?
Mine?
Not you.
They'll share their insights on the polls. This is Money, Power, and Politics.
All right, hello, I'm Craig Patrick, and this is our kickoff show here. So before we go any further, I want to take a moment to explain how this show is different. You're going to see a mix of investigative reporting and some parody and satire along the way. In short, we take a lighter look at politics and a serious look at the issues. And on the serious side, we shine the light and call out things that just don't add up, like this.
Special Forces. What years? I was in Special Forces. Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
Our children need to be protected, and we're going to do everything we can to protect them.
Well, when the president does it, that means that it is not illegal.
But we also mix in some humor, because while politics is serious stuff, it's not always the war of the worlds.
Whose car is this? Whose car is this?
It's okay. We're with Fox 13 News, but we've got to get out of here because there's a great big... Wow, that was kind of weird, but fun. And we're going to have fun with a political system that a lot of people say deserves to be mocked. And that brings us to one of our new humor segments. Since politicians on both sides of the aisle like to twist their rivals' words, well, we want to show them how we can do it when we take them completely out of context.
As our congressmen book first-class flights to luxury resorts around the world, John McCain speaks out.
We fly anywhere we want to, when and how we want to, and you'd better stay out of the way.
Meanwhile, John Kasich tests out a new campaign slogan to match his latest poll numbers.
I'm voting myself the most flawed man in this room.
Jeb Bush may have finally had enough.
Marco Rubio is the right man at the right time.
He finally admits that he got owned by Marco Rubio.
Our new leader, Marco Rubio.
And Senator Bill Nelson finally recalls his days in the service.
When I was in the military, certainly all the intercourse that I had as a military officer was the best.
Thank you, Bill Nelson. By the way, we got the inspiration for this out of context segment a couple of years ago from a fella named Mitt Romney.
The American dream is not owning your own home.
Why don't you like Obamacare? What is it that's wrong with it?
My experience in the private sector took me, one, to be head of a consulting firm that got in trouble. You need to have some taxes to spread the wealth around.
They better vote for the other guy.
There are a lot of reasons not to elect me.
Now think about it, so much has changed just since the last election, especially here in the state of Florida. So now we'll shift to that serious look at the issues with a closer look at Florida in tonight's Spotlight.
Florida has a reputation as a retirement state, and comics have satirized our electorate, as we see in this clip from The Onion.
Finding a way to appeal to Florida's young voters, those in the 70 to 80-year-old range, while also addressing the needs of the older 81 to 95-year-old demographic.
But they may not realize how much Florida has changed.
We're seeing a large influx of younger people into Florida.
47% of Florida's voters are now under the age of 50. Our electorate is getting younger because more young families are moving here for jobs as our economy takes off. And more immigrants from Latin America are settling here. And that's changing Florida's political climate.
They tend to be very socially liberal, but a little bit fiscally moderate, but up for grabs. It's a very interesting shift.
USF professor Dr. Susan McManus leads the USF Nielsen Sunshine State Survey. It's a deep dive into what we as Floridians value and where we stand on the issues. It shows people are still most concerned about our economy, but the numbers have dropped from 52% who ranked that as a top concern in 2011 to 22% today.
As a consequence of an improving economy, you start to see people citing growing pains as problems in Florida, things like transportation, congestion, crime.
And our environment. While Floridians are divided on many issues, they overwhelmingly agree on some. 72% favor stricter water quality regulations.
Florida has always been a very environmentally conscious state.
That's partly because 2/3 were not born in Florida. Something compelled them to move here.
Why did they move to Florida? A huge part of that is our environment.
McManus says that's one of 3 big issues that may drive voting behavior.
The environment, education, and the economy as being the dominant issues, not only in Florida for the fall, but across the country.
But the survey also shows most Floridians pay attention to current events. So future events can shift public opinion, shake up the political races, and make the candidates turn on a dime.
And get ready because we have some other big changes to talk about. Let's start with Chris Wallace. He has the changes in the campaign forecast. He'll join us in just a couple of minutes. Then Mike Simon tracked your money to a government study that may have you scratching your head. And David Martin will kick off another humor segment that we call the News Remixed.
We're in that season for the next 12 months. This poll says that poll says this, but the most popular polling firm is saying we're out. Gallup has gone to the sidelines. We'll spin that story with the help of these terrific comedians coming up on the News Remixed.
We're calling John McCain now to work into a discussion on polling.
It isn't just Iraq.
Hello?
Certainly Iraq is part of it, but it's not just Iraq.
Hello?
It is certainly other parts.
Well, bad connection, but we also happen to have Governor Rick Scott's phone number here. We're going to call him, see what he has to say.
Somebody is calling. I don't know who it is.
Okay, well, let's try Senator Pat Roberts. I just saw him at the Frozen Sing-Along at Disney. I know he'll pick up.
Graphic preference issue.
Ah, come on.
Hello?
Just let it go, Mr.
So I guess a lot of people just don't answer their phones these days. And that's one of the reasons why you can't always trust the polls. Many depend on robocalls, which by law cannot reach cell phones. Landlines are going away. And when you do find somebody by phone and ask if they want to take time to take a survey,
No, no, no.
more and more people are saying no. And that leaves the pollsters with declining response rates, often small sample sizes, sometimes oversampling one group over another, and they don't know what the turnout mix will be. And with shifts in technology and population and culture, their turnout models can be wrong.
It's been a bad night for the pollsters.
Recently, the pollsters missed badly in Great Britain and Greece and Israel, and here in the U.S., the polls failed in Kentucky. Matt Bevin trailed in the polls, then won the governor's race. In 2014, Eric Cantor's poll gave him a 34-point lead, and he got hammered. The polls in 2014 also underestimated the Republican wave. And in 2012, Gallup poll suggested Mitt Romney would beat President Obama.
Man, you definitely got Romnesia.
If you look at all the polls and try to find the mean average of them, I think more often than not, you're going to be wrong.
Political strategist Adam Goodman says you can't trust results on any given day because those numbers peg up and down like an EKG machine.
The most important thing about polls is where are things moving as opposed to where things are.
So the experts don't rely on poll numbers, especially this far out. They simply use polls to track movement. The numbers don't matter as much because we know how the horse race can shift. And again, those numbers can be all over the map because pollsters use different formulas and they're all just guessing how it will all play out.
Twitter.
Clown. God, what is that hair?
I have an ample supply of underwear.
Smithers. A lawyer with his briefcase can steal more than 100 men with guns. I don't know how that's relevant to this, but I thought it was a really good quote.
And on that note, we're not going to have some fun with the polls with a guy who has made me laugh for years. You may have seen David Martin before. He's had his own late night show here in Florida, and he and his co-producer Art Miles have won 3 Emmys, maybe more as far as I know, and I'm a big fan of their work. So I asked them to be a part of our new show, and they said yes. They also assembled a team of comics for a segment called The News Remix. So without further ado, here's David Martin.
Hi everyone, welcome to the News Remixed. I'm David Martin, that's Art Miles, and these funny people are giving us the punchlines. Let's play. Right. You scared me.
The views expressed on the News Remixed are those of the people featured and are not necessarily those of this station or its employees.
We're talking the poll. Do pollsters sway your vote?
Mine?
Not you. Our comedians.
The best pollster ever is that kid who stuck his tongue on the frozen flagpole in A Christmas Story.
I decide the way all rich people do. Whichever candidate will give me $1 billion government contract.
Pollsters don't sway my vote with their beards and their little hats. Wait, maybe those are called hipsters?
No, because I vote on who I want to see Disney put in the Hall of Presidents next.
Oh yeah, who has the best speech in the Hall of Presidents?
Chester A. Arthur.
What? Anyways, did you hear about Gallup? We've grown up with them, right? But they're not playing ball for the upcoming presidential race. Politico covered this. They go into great detail about how Gallup really botched the 2012 race, showing Romney in the lead over Obama by a significant margin, and even misidentifying the winner. But should they sit out this year because of those mistakes?
The Gallup polls have changed their names to the Sauntering Survey or whatever.
Gallup is taking a poll to see if this is a mistake, but they won't rely on the results.
After 2012, the Gallup poll's new slogan is, if at first you don't succeed, quit. It's embarrassing.
Well, there is that. Plus, big money donors rely on accurate polls. If you had $1 million to give,
I would support the candidate who's the most out of shape because I know all they do is work and their heart will ensure a term limit.
So meanwhile, you'll have to get your poll positions from Pew Research, Rasmussen, Quinnipiac.
When I hear the word Quinnipiac, I think, bless you. When I hear the word Quinnipiac, I think, I don't know what that word is.
Quinnipiac is an ancient Indian word meaning guesstimate.
The last time I had strep throat, my doctor prescribed Quinnipiac. Now I can only talk about politics.
My doctor prescribed Gallup. Now I can't do math.
Good one. Hey, you too can play along with us. Come say hi on Facebook.com/The News Remixed. If you're a stand-up comedian wanting some exposure, send us your demo reel. All you need is a smartphone. And speaking of which, smartphones are a huge challenge for pollsters today. Gone are those easy landlines they relied on.
I would start giving pollsters a BuzzFeed quiz. Which Friend star would vote for your candidate?
What about Tinder? Then you swipe left if you want to vote for them, swipe right if you want to go on a date. And I'm talking to you, Marco Rubio.
All right, Marco Rubio's getting a lot of buzz this week, so we asked Chris Wallace, host of Fox News Sunday, to break it down for us. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris, and being part of our new political show.
Well, congratulations. You can watch me in the morning and you in the evening and get all of your Sunday fix on politics.
Absolutely. And I watched you back in March of 2010, I believe, host the first national debate for Marco Rubio when he took on Charlie Crist. How have you seen him change and grow as a candidate since then?
Well, he was a very impressive candidate then. I mean, one thing about Rubio that has struck me all along is he has wildly strong political skills. I mean, he's just a great talker. He is able to speak very fluently, to marshal an argument, to make his point. And he's only gotten better over the course of the last 6 years. You know, to watch him in that debate on Fox Business Network this week, and to see, you know, his ability to just make a cogent point in 60, 90 seconds to make his case in a way that you can't take your eyes off him. He's compelling.
What's your take on Donald Trump and his 9-minute attack on Ben Carson, the whole run about the belt buckle? Is that something you think that can hurt Ben Carson or hurt Donald Trump?
I will say I've never seen anything like it. Among other things, I've never seen somebody go into a state and say the voters of that state are stupid, which is what he said several times about support for Ben Carson. And look, you know, it's fine to go after another candidate, but oftentimes you either want to do that through ads, through super PACs, through surrogates. To have the candidate himself out there talking about a man, whether you agree with him or disagree with him, who's really beloved in Iowa and across the country. You know, he's pathological, to compare him to a child molester, and also to mock his statement about being a born-again Christian, particularly in a state like Iowa, where 60% of the Republican caucus goers identify themselves as evangelicals or born again. It is a very curious political strategy for Donald Trump.
And as for Jeb Bush, he says he doesn't care about the polls. And we just showed how the polls can be wrong, and they have been before. But I know that Jeb Bush's donors and would-be donors do care, do they not?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, nobody could look at the debates and just the dynamics, the trend lines in this campaign and feel good about Jeb Bush. Now, I don't think he's dead. He's a very capable man. But he has not been a good candidate, and he's got to do a better job of selling himself and selling what he accomplished in Florida, far better than he has done so far, if he's going to be a factor in this race.
Chris Wallace, thank you very much for joining us.
Again, welcome to the Sunday shift. You get to stay up late. That's right. Have to get up early, but you'll find it's a really good time, and people really, it's an opportunity for people to sit back and find out what's going on in the world of politics.
We're really excited. And you can always catch Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday. That's 2 and 6 p.m. on Fox News Channel and 9 a.m. here on Fox 13 in Tampa Bay. And we're still a long way from finished. We found a highway study here in Central Florida that you may not believe, especially when you find out how much you're paying for it. Plus our clips of the week and a chance for you to join in the conversation when we come back. All right, here's the question. Should we do road work during the day when the roads are congested or late at night when the roads are clear? Well, the feds are spending a lot of your money just trying to figure that out. Mike Sinan has tonight's It's Your Dime.
It's called WISE, Work Zone Impact and Strategy Estimator. The effort is to figure out when to do road construction.
It's a software that looks at construction projects and how we can sequence those projects to reduce the impact on traffic.
Transportation Planning Agency Metroplan Orlando approved the $600,000 consultant study, but don't blame them. The federal government told them to do it and paid for it in full.
Metroplan Orlando was selected to test this software by the U.S. DOT.
They'll report back when the best time to do road work is, then feds can expand this software nationwide.
I thought I might do the federal government a favor and go out and ask people on the street when construction on roads should be done. Want to guess what they answered?
The nighttime.
What is the best time, in your opinion, for workers to do road construction?
During the night.
There's no traffic, it's safer, and also it's cooler.
Engineers from UCF will help develop the software,
so that they reduce the impact on traffic, so that people don't have to go through as many work zones.
And we'll have our $600,000 answer on when the best time to work on roads is next year.
And in the meantime, we want to hear from you. We'll show you what we're looking for here and how you can join in. Plus, Jeb Bush does an old comedy bit when we come back. All right, this week, Jeb Bush earned our clip of the week with an inadvertent homage to Airplane.
If we had another financial crisis like the one in 2008...
We shouldn't have another financial crisis.
Surely you can't be serious. You can't seriously guarantee that there won't be another financial crisis, can you?
I am serious.
If you were serious about...
Ever?
And don't call me Shirley.
There'll never be another financial crisis?
No, I can't say that.
All right, and we put together some other fun clips on our Facebook page. Please check it out. Look up Fox 13's Craig Patrick again on Facebook. First, send us a message. Tell us what you want to see, and we'll add it to the list, see if we can work it in. Also, check out our video gallery for segments that we have already put together. You'll find a series of investigations, analyses, and commentary on the campaigns heading into next year, from flashback segments, a lighter look at politics as well. And please join us each and every week. That is Sundays at 11:30 p.m. for Money, Power, and Politics. For Chris Wallace and David Martin, again, I am Craig Patrick. Thank you once again for watching our kickoff show right here on Fox 13.